Okay, so in this video we're talking about rewriting equations and formulas. So this is a little bit different for you. You should have done this a little bit in Algebra 1, but it's good to review. Alright, so first off, why would we want to do that for? Why would we want to solve an equation for a specific variable? Well, think about it. Do you have a formula or an equation for every single thing out there? No. You only have a certain set of formulas. But if you can move things around and solve for what you're looking for instance, let's just use an example. Let's say I want to use this formula, but I want to find the rate, I want to find the speed. Well, I can move things around and say, alright, well, if I want the rate is just simply this. Okay? Well, what if instead I want to find, I don't know, the time? So time is equal to... So by just knowing one formula, if I can move things around and solve for a specific variable, I got 2 for 3, okay, that weren't necessarily taught to me. Okay, so that's why it's important. Because you're not always going to be asked, for instance, this distance formula. You're not always going to be asked for distance. Sometimes you're going to be asked for the rate, sometimes you're going to be asked for the time. You're going to be asked for different things that you just don't know. Okay? And instead of memorizing thousands and thousands of formulas, it's easier just to memorize a couple and move things around and solve for what you're looking for. Okay? And how can we rewrite formulas? Well, pretty much it's just the reverse order of operations, just like solving equations, okay? So I'm going to just say, just like solving equations. So we solve for x when we just had one variable. Now we have multiple variables. So we're going to focus on, the variable we're asked to solve for, and everything else we're going to treat like a number. So there's nothing to it except just, to have an example. So let's get going. All right. So here we want to solve for y. So since we're solving for y, that means I need to get y by itself. That means some people call that isolate y, okay? You might hear that language also, okay? But it just means get y by itself. Alright, so that means I'm going to move everything around except the y. I want to keep y where it is if I can. Okay? So I'm just going to rewrite my problem to start off with 7x minus 3y. Alright, so y is my variable here that I'm interested in. Everything else I'm going to treat like a number. I can move it, I can divide it, add, subtract, multiply, divide, all that stuff I can do. Okay, so first thing I want to get y by itself, so I'm going to get rid of this 7x. So minus 7x on both sides. Cancel out, so negative 3y is equal to. Now, over here on the right, these are not like terms, so both pieces just fall down. So negative 7x plus 8. Need to get y by itself. Okay, this is multiplication, so the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide by negative 3. Divide by negative 3. So y is equal to negative 7x plus 8, the whole thing divided by negative 3. Now, this is technically correct. However, you could also split up your fraction. Okay? I have two things on top, so that means both numbers are being divided by negative 3. So I can also say y equals negative 7 divided by negative 3 is positive 7/3. And then positive 8 divided by negative 3 is negative 8/3. So you might see your answer written either way. Okay? Now honestly, this over here, simplified, that's the simplified version. That's probably the best answer. This one's okay, this one's great. Okay? Now here we want to find the value of y and then plug in these specific values. So I'm going to first solve this equation for y. Okay, well, what I want to do first is factor out an x. Now, if factoring is a little bit, forgotten for you, you need to go back and check that out. That's the most important thing. You don't even know for one. So I'm going to have on the left, my common factor is an x. So I can pull out an x. So x is 1 plus y equals 1. Okay, well I need to get y by itself, so I'm going to divide by x. So I have 1 plus y is equal to 1 divided by x. And then finally, we need to get y by itself, so I'm just going to subtract 1 from both sides. So y equals 1 divided by x minus 1. Okay? Now I'm just going to plug in these values. So for the first one, everywhere I see an x, I'm going to put in -1. So y equals 1 divided by -1 minus 1. 1 divided by -1 is -1. So -1 minus 1, which is -2. For here, for the second problem, everywhere I see an x, I'm going to put in a 3. So y equals 1 over 3 minus 1. So 1/3 minus 1, this is -2/3. And that's it. Okay? You get the variable that you want by itself and then plug in what you know. Okay, so there's several formulas you should know. I'm just going to give these to you, okay? Make sure you have these memorized. So distance. Simple interest. I equals PRT. So here, interest is equal to principal, which is just the amount of money you put in the bank, times your interest rate, times time. Now, time here in this problem is typically in years. Okay? Sorry, I didn't talk about this problem. Distance is equal to your rate, which is typically the speed, multiplied by the time. Temperature. So we're using Fahrenheit. Typically 9/5 C plus 32. Okay? So here, F is in Fahrenheit, C is in Celsius. Area of a triangle. You should know this one definitely. 1/2 base times height. Perimeter of a rectangle. Perimeter is equal to 2 times the width plus 2 times the length. Area of a trapezoid. There's 2 bases in a trapezoid, so we're going to have area is 1/2 the height times base 1 plus base 2. Area of a circle. Pi radius squared. Here, pi, you might use 3.14 for pi, okay? Or just hit the pi key on your calculator. Circumference. It's just, circumference is just a fancy name for perimeter, so if you want to think of it as perimeter, but it's just 2 times pi times the radius. So again, hit the pi key or use 3.14. Okay? So here we've got the perimeter of a rectangle on this formula, but we want to solve it for the width, okay? We want to get W, the width, by itself. So I'm going to just rewrite my original problem so I have a little bit of room to work. Okay, so 2L plus 2W. All right, so I want to get W by itself, so I'm going to try not to touch the W if at all possible. So everything else I'm going to move around. So minus 2L, minus 2L. Cancel out. All right, well, these are not like terms, so everything's just going to fall down. So P minus 2L is equal to 2W. All right, now I need to get W by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2. All right, well, I have P minus 2L divided by 2 is equal to W. Again, this is okay, but we can also simplify. Both pieces are being divided by the same number, being divided by 2. So I can split up my fraction. So W is equal to P divided by 2. Negative 2 divided by positive 2 is -1, so minus L. So either way, this is good, this is great, this is more simplified. Okay, that's it for this video.